Today I will start a poem, and the name of the poem is A Photograph. A Photograph is a poem which is composed by Shirley Toulson. So who is the composer of the poem A Photograph? Shirley Toulson. Actually, Shirley Toulson, she was born on 20th May 1924 in Henley-on-Thames, England. Okay. And her mother's name was Marjorie Brown, and her father was Douglas Horsfall Dixon. This particular poem, A Photograph, it is actually based on time. Now, if I ask you what is a photograph, then the answer normally comes out. A photograph is a captured, maybe the best moment of our life. Actually, we don't like to take photographs of our bad times. Okay, but when the time is going on very smoothly, or the happiest moments of our life, we normally try to capture it. Okay, through camera, and that is known as a photograph. So photograph is the captured best moments of our life. So it also indicates time. Photograph, it also indicates time. Okay, here in this particular poem, what we see that Shirley Toulson actually has been discussing about a photograph that was about her mother's childhood days. Okay, now I am going through the lines. The cardboard shows me how it was. Means what a cardboard is? A cardboard is a photograph. What does the cardboard show? The cardboard shows me how it was. Means how it was the time. When the two girl cousins went paddling. When the two girl cousins means when the two girl cousins of poet's mother, they went on paddling. Paddling means to walk on the shallow water of the sea. You look at my fingers. Suppose these are my legs. I am walking on the sea beach or the seashore. So when I paddle or when I am paddling means I am proceeding, means time is passing. So the second line also indicates time. Got it? Next. Each one holding one of my mother's hand. And she, the big girls of 12 years or so, and each one was holding my mother's hand. And she, the big girl, between these two small girls was the poet's mother, and at that time she was just 12 years or so. Means approximate age was given 12 years. Who was that big girl? That big girl who was seen as 12 years in that photograph was the poet's mother. Understood what I said? Okay. Next. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. At that time, they were on a swim, enjoying a swim in sea beach. And at that time, Shirley Toulson's uncle had clicked the photograph. They were smiling and their hair was seen blowing. Got it? Now, what it said that, before that if I ask you, how many cousins were there in the photograph? 3 cousins. One is Shirley Toulson's mother, and 2 are the Betty and Dolly, the cousins of Shirley Toulson's mother. Okay, these 3 were the cousins. And the photograph was taken by the 4th one. He was also another cousin. These 3 were females, and that one was the male one who had taken the photograph. Next, a sweet face by mother that was before I was born. The poet here says that you can see the very sweet face of my mother that was taken. The photograph when it was taken, it was before I was born. Means it was long before my birth when the photograph was taken. Okay. And the sea which appears to have changed less. Now what is that? The photograph was taken on the seashore or the beach, and sea waves were coming like that way. Coming, waves are coming and going. Coming and going, coming and going. You can watch my hand gesture. What I am showing like this, it is also been compared with that pendulum. Means also indicates time. But at that time when they 3 little girls stood at the sea beach, sea water was terribly their transient feet. Transient feet means mortal feet. Means it is time that actually means escaped poet's own mother from herself. Next stanza. Some 20-30 years later, means when the photograph was taken, 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. So my mother at that time, maybe after 20 years of that photograph or after the 30 years of that photograph, at that time my mother was, if it was 20 years after, then my mother was 30 years old, and if it was 30 years after, then my mother was 42 years old. At that time she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. And what she said, that they were dressed very immodestly for the sea beach. Okay, maybe their home was quite near to the sea beach, and as they were little girl, so they had a very carefree look, and so they went there. Okay, and she said the sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter, both wearing with the labor days of loss. Means the sea holiday of her mother and her cousins was past. Okay, and what she said, that with the passage of time, okay, everything has changed. Poet's whole life has changed. Poet's mother, while the photograph was taken, at that time she was just 12 years old. Okay, that time was also lost. Everything was lost from poet's own life, but that sea remains mighty. Sea remains the same. Okay, both vary with the labor days of loss, means with the passage of time, everything has lost. Now she's been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived. Now, in that photograph, that girl was only 12 years old. And what we see, the 12 years old girl ultimately became poet's mother. And when the poetess was talking about her mother, at that time she was feeling very alone or lonely. Because the poet actually, she was married. Okay, but 9 years after her marriage, she was divorced. She had 3 children. Okay, but might be no one lived with her. She was alone, and her means only one and only means support or whatever you can say. It was that photograph. From that she got inspiration. And what she said, that her mother, from whom she got inspiration, from whom she got complete support, that mother was no more. She was also dead for last 12 years. And that's the reason why there is nothing to say. It's silence, silences. And that's why God was feeling very sorry. And so she can't even move or utter a single word. So it's silence, silences. That's all about the poem, A Photograph. Understood?